Welcome to the Edge of the Headlights podcast. Yeah, we're not. This is not a normal recording day for us, folks. We're putting out a bonus episode that'll hopefully come out shortly after we record this.
Right.
And what we're going to talk about is the L.A. fires, or
Right.
L.A. County fires, I should say, because I've had people say L.A.'s on fire.
Yes.
Parts of it are, but not L.A. downtown is on fire.
Well, a lot of people I don't think understand, like bigger cities and that. Like even you go to the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Yeah.
They're not actually that big.
Yeah.
Everything around them is actually
Bigger.
other towns. That whole area is that area, and that's kind of how LA is too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just weird because we're gonna start off. We're gonna do a little timeline here, quick, folks. It was Tuesday last week is when they had the Palisade fire, which is considered basically Malibu, next to Malibu area. You had the Eaton fire, which is North Hollywood Hills, and the Hearst fire started on Tuesday, and that's the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, just from that stuff, that started Wednesday. And after that, you've had the Woodley fire or the Sunset fire.
Yeah.
You can get both. They're actually the same one. That's by the letters, isn't it?
Yeah, around there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Hollywood letters, if you see graphics of it burning down, it hasn't burned down.
No.
Then you have the Linden fire, and the Kenneth fire. So what could be some of the causes that's coming out in the news? We're going to go down this list here.
Oh, right.
Causes, power lines. Because there is a video showing, like, in the Santa Ana winds, power lines are hitting and sparking.
Yeah, which does happen.
Yeah. But this is at night, and the fires had started during the day.
Right. Well, it can happen during the day, too.
Yeah.
But the odds of all of them sparking over that,
we'll get into
pretty
that.
unlikely.
We're going to get that into the conspiracy part of it.
Right.
And there's a lot more of this, folks.
There's been a whole lot.
We should say also, this is all speculation on me and Mari's part.
Yeah, there's no
and we feel
proof.
bad for everybody who's lost a home.
Oh, no, absolutely.
There's like 16 people that have died so far from this.
Yeah, confirmed.
It's a tragic loss.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, this is really a big freaking mess.
Another one, they said lightning, but that's already been ruled out. But they haven't thought about dry lightning. I don't know what else to call it. Static lightning.
Yeah, right.
We get it in South Dakota here during the summer.
Yep.
And that can happen in the middle of the day, and it doesn't even crack off or anything. It's just like a flash.
Yep. Yeah, just like, oh.
Yeah, what was that? Playing softball, when I used to play softball, they've had to stop games because...
Oh, yeah.
It's like... Yeah, no, we're not playing this dry lightning weather.
Yeah. Basically, everything gets dry. It becomes like a static charge.
Yeah.
Just on a much bigger scale than snapping your dog in the nose. It's can get pretty nasty.
Yeah. Arson. There were a few videos of people starting fires, and one person has been captured or whatever.
Right.
Detained. Yeah. But we don't know because... The video I've seen, a couple videos I've seen, is like a group of like 3 or 4 people in a suburban area, let's say.
Yeah.
And they're like starting a fire and people are just videotaping. I'm like, why are people just videotaping that stuff?
Here's the problem now, too, and we've gone over this with multiple subjects. Video now, to me, is very suspect. In this day and age, you even find this on like clickbait stories you'll find, where it's like, oh, man, this horrible thing. It's like, well, that's actually a picture from something 2 years ago. Yeah. We've even had national recognized journalist areas where have been doing this sometimes. We'll show pictures from 4 years ago and then be like, oh, this is what's going on now. It's like, no, that's an old stock photo, guys.
Or the whole Weather Channel thing where that guy's like, I'm sitting in this water. They cut it to look like he was waist deep in water. Yeah. Then he stood up and it was like to his knees.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm like, that's bad journalism.
Right. That's deceptive.
There we go. Climate change.
Yeah.
That's been pushed hard.
Because it always is.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, this is the first dry year California's had in 2 years.
Yeah.
They've been drenched for like 2 years straight.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they were like, oh, God, because it's been so dry. It's like, no, there are record insurance reports of houses having to get water repair because it's been so wet out there.
Yeah.
Of roofs being wrecked because of all the water and it's not used to it.
And it's on the Pacific Highway. They've had one last year that washed out from because it was mudslides.
Yeah, mudslides because it's been wet as hell for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Ridiculously wet.
And I have this one that's mentioned up. I've seen videos of this too. Aliens.
Yeah, that always gets thrown in.
There's
there
a video
about,
out there.
The,
it's like
climate change.
the funny thing. The guy who made the video, he's making fun of it.
Right.
He's like, why do people that get after UFOs have the shittiest phones possible?
Right. It's kind of what it does, though.
Yeah.
It's how it is. It's the anti-technology that blurs your phone. Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's just a couple of the... Cause this whole thing is just weird for the LA fires.
Right.
But there is more weird things about it. Just for the videos I've watched, even on news I've caught this too. Like CNN, I've watched some CNN stuff. Disney Channel actually, while this was going on, Disney had live feed from the fires.
Well, some of this you got to consider. This is kind of their
playground.
Yeah, this is their backyard, and this actually is not like a regular Hawaii places burned down. No, a lot of you live here, and you have money involved in this. Yeah. So yeah, they're very concerned with it.
Because the videos I saw, even on there, you can just see it on their panning going down the street. Oh, look at this destruction. Things I've noticed. You have fire ravages house and cars, but leaves on trees and bushes are still green.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I don't know what that is because there's other trees that are completely ravaged. Right. But there'll be like a house that's nothing left but ash, but it'll have green shrubberies.
Right.
And I'm like, there must be a different... I'm not sure if certain plants are resistant to high heat and flames.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And well, like you said, we've talked before on weird... Probably even when we talked about Hawaii. But, you have, even around here, tornadoes where rips up everything, but then just jumps over the shed.
Yep.
Everything else is there, but by logic, you would think everything would have been shredded. And you are dealing with a force of nature.
Yep.
And it does oddball things, You had that high wind to the flame. Who knows what weird thing went on. But it does look a little...
suspicious.
Odd.
Yeah.
It comes off as very, very odd.
Yeah, because like another thing too, they show cars where the tires are melted, the rims are half melted. But you look inside the car and the cheap ass vinyl seats are untouched. The steering wheel is not even drooping.
Yeah, which is
that makes no sense to me. I work with vinyl every day.
Right.
That stuff is highly malleable.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of heat and you can stretch it like a noodle.
A little bit of cold, it becomes very brittle.
Yes.
But
it's just
very
so weird
temperature.
because you would think that paint's off the car.
Yeah.
The tires are melted, rims are effing melted.
Yeah, it should have been enough to heat
the
at
inside,
least some
like
of
a pressure
what was
cooker.
inside there. Yeah. It should have been.
Even the rubber on the outside of the doors is still up.
Yeah, the weather sealing is there, which is odd.
Yeah.
I mean,
But one thing I noticed too is NASA needs to come in and help them with the investigation. Because we're going to go down this road. It's from CNN.
They can film fake landings on...
Yeah, the fake landings on Mars, sure. But CNN, I watched 2 clips, part 1 and part 2, and you can see...
Man, that is more CNN than I've been able to stomach for
Sorry, I had to watch this.
But I hear you. Yeah, I got you, man.
Otherwise, I'd be watching something on Tubi.
Yeah, I've had to catch clips too.
They show these clips going down the street, and there's one thing I noticed in all the streets that they showed that had these on it. Guess what it was? Blue garbage cans.
Was it blue?
Yeah. Blue garbage cans.
Weird.
Were not melted. The green ones right next to it were.
Really?
Yeah, it has one guy who's like, you can see his house was totally demoed. Green garbage cans were melted, but the dark blue ones like we have here.
Yep.
Fuck, they're fine.
Now this is a callback to anybody who's not familiar with the
Maui fire.
Fires from, was it last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, just last year.
Yeah.
Oh God, it feels like it was longer than that ago. But yeah, last year.
This is a
callback
to us.
Right. This is a callback to some of the conspiracies there, where neighborhoods were completely burned out, except for buildings that had blue roofs. Tended to not be affected by these fires for some reason.
Yeah. And the symptoms have been brought into this too already.
Again, they're like aliens and global warming. They're going to get pulled into everything.
Yeah, there's like, it's like they're like, oh, symptoms are predicted this, and this.
Yeah.
But you got to figure. I don't know. We've mentioned it before in previous shows. The guys who write symptoms are not somebody like me and Marty. These are all doctorates.
Right.
They know what's already. They're futurists. They know what's coming. They already have in their wheelhouse.
And some of that too. You have a show that goes that long. just by sheer rate of averages, even by joking, you're going to come up with a whole bunch of stuff that ends up being pretty close to,
Yeah, the episode they're talking about is where Springfield burned down.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's an old one, yeah, it's an older one.
Now we're going to go.
Interesting.
It's not like this whole show is nothing but conspiracy, folks.
Right, yeah. Again,
but there is some actual facts here that really pisses me off. We'll get to that.
We do throw facts and stuff, but again, this is conjecture on not just our part, but we're just kind of compiling other people's ideas that have been thrown in here, just to kind of throw them out there for people to run through their own heads.
Yeah, because the biggest one that always keeps coming up now is State Farm drops insurance weeks ahead of the fire.
Yeah.
That's not a conspiracy. That actually happened.
Yeah, that's been going on. A lot of the big insurance places back in July dropped all fire coverage in California. Because like a lot of businesses in California are running from the place in droves because it is no longer profitable, especially with something like this where you have fires pretty routinely. And then when you get into the ideas that you have agencies that are not going up and taking care of the preventative fire stuff that they should be doing, have been warned they should be doing, that plays into some of this too, where it's like, you guys should have been doing some of this. And they pretty much went, no, we're not making any money on this. So the reality is, no matter what you might think, insurance is a business. They are not there to help you.
Like my dad used to say, you can always find the insurance company building in any town. It's the biggest building in any town.
They are a business. Yeah, they do help their customers out, but it's like a casino. They're not doing it because out of the goodness of their heart. They're making money.
Yep.
If they weren't, they aren't there. That's how this works. Now, I like I said, we talked about a little of this before air. No matter when this happened, because fires are so regular out there, it is automatically going to get pulled into a conspiracy of, they knew they're going to pull these out. And I honestly don't think they did. Like I said, there were a lot of them starting in July, completely just went, nope, we're not here anymore. We're not doing fire insurance in California because it is not profitable us to do it. We're not going to just throw money away. We're done covering it.
Because especially like what Marty's talking about is like, we'll get into it. Sorry, folks. Trying to jump ahead. But I did do some digging on State Farm and found some interesting things.
Oh, yeah. All insurance has.
The major investment holder of State Farm is Apple with 11.82%.
All
right. Guess who the major stockholder in Apple is? Vanguard?
Oh, weird.
And guess who Vanguard owns a lot of? Microsoft. Who owns Microsoft? Bill Gates.
Right.
Oh, wait, none of his land was touched. He owns 4,500 acres that is a prime farmland.
Right.
Yeah. So take that as you will.
Yeah, take that for whatever you need.
Take that as you want it. I got a note up here. What's the note about?
Pick up egg. No, not at $5 a dozen, I'm not.
$8, dude. What are you talking about?
No, I haven't paid that much. I haven't paid for any of them lately. I'm just like, I don't need it. I got 4 eggs.
We're just going to raise our own chickens.
I got like 4 eggs left in there. I've been like, well, maybe if I really need some, I'll use them. I'm not going to buy them.
But again, the weird thing about the fire is just the first 3 that we talked about, Palisades, Eaton, and Hearst fire.
Right.
There's satellite imagery of all 3 of these fires starting simultaneously or within an hour of each other.
Yeah.
I don't understand that because we talked about power lines.
Right.
Well, where these fires started, in one of them, there is no power lines.
Right.
So there has to be, that goes down the arson road.
Right. Yeah, let's see, like with arson, right away that first day, there's always people that are like, oh, God, somebody said it. And my thought was, not necessarily. But when we start seeing more, it's like, okay, yeah, that is very unlikely that multiple fires are going to start very close to each other in multiple areas at the same time. It is unlikely, not impossible, but it's highly unlikely.
Well, I'm gonna trump your card with this right here.
Uh-oh.
Remember Canada last summer?
Oh yeah.
5 fires started one right after another.
Right.
No one knows how they started either.
Yeah, well, no one bothered really looking either.
It's in
They
yeah,
just
but
kinda
still,
went, "Meh."
same thing as what
Yeah.
the satellite video shows here. 3 starting in Canada, 5 started.
Yep.
So
Massive fire
take the
burning through.
I think
Yeah.
they just want to jack up the price of OSB. Is what it is.
Right, right. Yeah,
This
no,
stuff's
we had to deal with that last year because that smoke, the wind would shift, and yeah, we'd get covered for 2 days.
Yeah, it
in
looked like
smoke and
great
smelt it.
apocalypse
Yeah,
stuff.
it was not great.
Some of the conspiracies. What were the fires used for? What did they have? They were used as to destroy evidence in all the P. Diddy parties.
There are a lot of them living in those areas.
Yeah.
No, that is true. Seems like a bit much to go for that, but
like we said, this is all speculation,
Yeah,
so it could be true. We
yeah,
don't
right.
know.
It's
And will we
throwing
ever find
ideas.
out the truth? Probably not.
No, probably never. They'll have
We'll be given
something
some
else.
lame ass reason.
Oh yeah, and another story will come up that will push this out of the way. Just like these fires have now pushed out P. Diddy stories.
Oh, they
drones.
push out. You have no idea.
So many
this
things.
LA county fire has pushed back so many stories
Oh,
I
yeah.
never heard of.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why are we talking about this?
Yep.
And we're gonna bring them stories up here.
Oh God.
Hey, you volunteered to do this on Sunday.
You did this. I was promised loads of illicit substances to show up.
You got it right there.
I did. I've got my monster here.
One of the biggest ones I don't want to believe in, but I'm thinking it's probably the reason why. Is the next 2 I'm going to talk about.
Right.
Fires were used to clear land for the smart city that were proposed back in 2019 by Ted Ross, CIO, which means Chief Information Officer,
Yeah.
in preparedness for the 2028 Summer Olympics Paralympic Games that are to be held in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He did have a 53-page document, and I did find it eventually because for
Yeah.
the first 3 times I looked for it,
Oh,
the
yeah,
link was
yeah,
broken.
yeah.
But now
Weird. Yeah.
it's weird because I'm serious, folks. I
Oh,
tried.
this page is not here anymore.
No, I typed it in, like, I had a website. They're like, all
Yeah.
right, they had a link to it. I went to the link. Link was broken.
Yep.
That happened 2 more days in a row. And I got onto it finally. And I went looking through the document. It's basically a bunch of broad strokes. This is what we need to do in that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what I was looking for is like, where's the location of the smart city?
Right. Yeah. It's
But then I figured out it's the whole area.
it's a basic outline of what they need to do.
Yeah.
Now, see, the interesting thing with a lot of these areas in LA, this is a quick history lesson for some people that maybe don't understand. LA did not spontaneously become this massive area that it is. Back in the 40s and 50s, you had a lot of land developers that knew this area could be potentially big money. Mm-hmm. So they developed areas like the Palisades Park area, the Malibu area. Compton was one of these early settlements where they were trying to get people out here to populate it.
Yep.
Now, Palisades, particular right now, only about half the population is actually super rich. Like the stars moved in, all these, but a lot of these people are generational. These houses and property were passed down from their grandparents who moved out and developed this in the 50s. So these houses and everything are paid for. So it's like, oh, I'd repair bikes. That's what this dude's job is. But all he has to do is pay for property taxes, food,
Yep.
living. House is paid for. The property is basically paid for.
Yep.
So, a lot of these people are going to be losing that area. The problem is a lot of people, rich people, especially like Palisades and some of these areas, have moved into there. So the property value is through the freaking roof.
Yes.
When I first was kind of hearing about this, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Because there were, like, Compton itself was originally
One of the premier
filled in as one of the big places. Well, then another developer decided, oh, I want this place to be bigger. Now, this is horrible, but it was the way they did things at the time.
Yeah.
It was the 50s, early 60s. They started moving black families in there to try to push the upper crust whites into a different area to live over here.
Yeah.
And then
It was really shitty what they did during the 50s.
Yeah. The reality was what they wanted to do was make the property so bad, then go back in and buy it up, tear it down, and restart something else. Problem is, it didn't work out that way, and then it became, well, modern day Compton.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of these places, and like I said, like Palisades, that property value is extremely high right now, and you have a lot of people that really aren't paying what they think they should be paying for that.
What you're trying to say is that you have guys that are generational property,
Yeah.
but it's that they don't have any income to pay to build back.
Yeah, they're not making house payments up here. So there's a whole bunch of developers that are licking their lips to want to get into that area, which goes into the conspiracy of, is this intentionally being burnt? Because what you will find happen after
Palisades is
this...
completely gone right now.
Oh, yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
What you are going to find in the aftermath of this is you're going to have a lot of these development companies and real estate developers that will come in and just cut a blank check for these people, because most of them no longer have insurance to cover that anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, well, here's this much to have your property. This is a fair value. You can go start somewhere else. And now they've basically bought that property for very little of what it was worth 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And now you can develop it. And that was... So I was listening to another show this last week where they were talking not about conspiracies of it, just the reality of some of these. I was like, oh, God. And that's where my head went, oh, man.
So you had
There's a whole lot of there's a whole lot of development companies that could stand to make a whole crap ton of money.
That's probably the same thing that happened in Maui, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you go into some of that area where Maui, you had some of that same thing where a lot of these people have been on that property for years and years and years.
Yep.
They're not making house payments on it. It's paid off. We
Land.
want this for newer stuff.
Yeah, so we get big people in there. Yeah.
Yep. So the people that are going to pay a whole lot more than what we're making off of you guys just paying your property taxes.
Yep.
Which is horrible.
It's very horrible.
But I said, don't be shocked. And this isn't even really, I would say, conspiracy, because this part of it is what's going to happen. You are going to see developers come in and just give them a check of something.
Pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, it's still going to be a good chunk of money, but not enough to still stay in LA.
Yep.
And get a
So
new
that
place.
does not mean you can move to South Dakota.
Right. Well,
Okay.
some of you probably could, but
Yeah, some might be able to.
But yeah, no, that is a reality of what I think we're going to see, and it's shitty. I mean, let's be real. It's
and
horrible
it's funny
way
that
to do
Palisades is almost if you look at the road system.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Palisades is almost a straight line to LA Coliseum.
Oh yeah.
It's basically you jump on the freeway and you're going to the casino.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be like the place to put a smart city?
It sure might be.
Yeah.
Like I said,
this is all conspiracy.
well,
folks.
like I said, and the reality of just the basic idea is like, that's how they're going to screw these people over. The rich people that lose stuff, that sucks for them, but they have money on their own to rebuild a place somewhere else.
It's the people that are like just like nurses.
The generational ones that are living there, that they're hosed. But when you go into a bigger theory of potentially, and it is a what's getting raised to the ground at this point is a very large section of land. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's until you go up on and actually look at a map of it.
To picture this, okay, the area that's been raised to the ground where it's just like cinder blocks.
Yeah.
It would cover Manhattan and New York City and a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's how much area.
Yeah, basically 2.5 of the New York boroughs.
Yeah.
That's how much has been cleared out.
And I think they tried to do that in Bronx too because they had a big fire in the Bronx.
Yeah.
But they got that contained.
Those guys are just too tough. They're like, nah, screw you, I ain't going nowhere. Spit on it, Ma. Spit on it. Get that fire out. They didn't care, man. They're not getting run out by a fire, man. In the Bronx.
Then another conspiracy with the fire is, and I like earlier this year, before all these big ones started coming up.
Yep.
There was 4 fires: the Max Fire in Lancaster.
Oh yeah, okay.
The Hisparan Fire in San Bernardino.
Yeah,
the Lisa Fire in Moreno Valley, and the Tuscany Fire in Palm Springs. The really interesting thing is when you take them fires, they have them back in July. They've had it sprinkler out the year.
Yeah, through the summer here.
And now this one, it is really a coincidence that all these fires happened in areas where California's proposing a high-speed rail system. Along the same line. All these fires happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Again, wow. That's an easy way to pick up cheap land.
Again, it's just all coincidence, folks.
Right.
This all happened not all at once. I think it would have been too much if we could just have done them all at once.
Right.
But there's been no, for the other fires I mentioned, the Max Fire, Hesperon, Lisa, and Tuscany Fire, they don't know how it happened. It's just natural causes.
Yeah, something started.
Yeah.
It's, nah.
Yep.
I mean, and recent years they've become so frequent that I think a lot of people don't even think about them anymore.
Unless it's like loss of life.
Well, yeah, like and
but
this
like
one
with all
here
these
is a whole
fires, there's
different.
been no loss of life. It's just been
No.
land, just been razed and buildings and
There goes some
structures.
houses. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, everybody's out. Everybody's fine.
No life has been lost, so
Right.
that probably keeps you from investigating them as much
Oh
too.
yeah.
Then you have, I don't know much about this, the tunnels. One of our listeners would really bring this up, and
Right.
she sent me a bunch of information, and I really didn't have time to dig into it. But supposedly, where all these houses have been destroyed, like in Peter's house, that's gone.
Yep.
There was tunnels leading to the Getty Museum,
Right.
and everybody's asking, why isn't the Getty Museum destroyed?
Yeah.
Because it was like in the middle of this fire. Well, the Getty Museum is pretty much fucking fireproof.
Yeah.
It's made out of solid stone and concrete.
Yep.
The roof is made out of the walls are made out of travertine. It's made to pass by fires. Fires are supposed to kind of roll over it.
Yep. Yeah. That was how it was designed.
Yeah.
It's earthquake resistant. It's designed to deal with natural disasters.
Yeah. In California specifically because
right.
of the fires and that.
Yeah, fires, mudslides, earthquakes, things like that. Now, that is interesting because, I mean, there are many years and many legends of tunnel systems underneath
Yes.
all parts of LA. There's
reptile
whole
people.
Yeah, there's whole stories of reptoids that have migrated to live and adapt underneath LA.
I think if I remember right from doing the research on it, was 1914.
Yeah.
There's mentions of it. Like this guy, he found this whole thing.
Yeah, he dug it. He was doing.
He was doing prospecting.
Yeah, he was doing something.
He ended up in the Death Valley doing something and ended up underneath LA with these lizard people.
Yeah. There's a whole tunnel system all underneath all the major areas. And oddly enough, and maybe it's just a human fear, but it seems like every major city has stories of underground tunnels. It doesn't help when you have places like Paris that literally do have catacombs under them.
No, I'm not doing that, Marty. I'm not doing the Paris thing.
No, not at all.
I don't care if you pay for an airplane ticket for me to go to Paris. I'm not going in the catacombs.
I will go into an entrance of it and be like, wow, that is crazy. Yep.
Yeah, give me that.
I'm done. Well, let's go find us some.
Because there's some wicked stories that come out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's not a lot of not happy stories that come out.
No, most of it doesn't end well.
No.
Just minor being just, they disappeared. We don't know where they went.
They got lost.
Two weird things being heard and seen. And,
we have not talked about that, have we?
No, we have not really done it.
Okay, folks. Spoiler alert, we're going to do one on the Paris catacombs.
Sometime in the next couple months, you'll have something on the catacombs.
The other thing, too, now we're going to get into government responses and failures.
Right.
This is a litany that just makes me so happy.
it seems
sarcasm,
to, anymore it seems to be kind of a random
Okay, when these fires started,
operating procedure.
this is a story that's really hitting right now. It's like these firefighters from Oregon came down.
Yep,
we're going to help you fight the fires. It's all this shit down there. Well, they get stopped, and they're not allowed to go any further because they failed emission test.
Yeah.
Because of pollution.
Yeah.
But there's a massive fires raging that are putting more pollutant than what this little diesel truck is going to do.
Yeah, your truck doesn't have the right cat on it, so it's got to be down. Well, let's just go into whole areas of this place where, the water pipes aren't working.
Yeah, I didn't write that on the list.
For the firing. They asked the new Jesus, Newsom, well, you got to talk to the locals. That's a local problem. It's like, no, man, you're the governor, man.
That's
You
your
should be on top
problem.
of this. These guys should, even here, every couple months they go out, crack them to make sure that
Even
there
if
is
it's in the
water
winter, they
getting to
crack
them.
them.
Yeah, to make sure there's water getting to them. That's part of your basic maintenance as firefighters. That's there are whole areas that just
That's
aren't
more of a
getting
city
water.
thing than a fire. Well, they take fire alarm, but it's a city. It's a city responsibility.
Yeah.
Not the firemen's themselves.
No. But
Because firemen are there, it's like, hey, I got the equipment to open it.
Right.
They have a city official with them saying, hey, yep, we got water coming out. This much pressure, they can test it. We're good. Next one.
But this is their regular maintenance that you are supposed to be doing. But whole areas are like, we don't got any water coming through here. Sorry. What do you mean you don't have water coming through? You kind of need that in a city like this. Have you guys not learned from the past of the multiple fires?
And I don't know what they think. If you live in California for any period of time, the Santa and a wind are a seasonal thing.
Yeah,
Every year they're going to happen.
And every X amount of years, they are way worse than they were.
Yeah.
Like,
and they actually,
just how it goes
and
on a
scientists,
cycle.
that's why they predicted, like right before Tuesday morning, they said high wind.
Oh, yeah. They were
because they knew
alert.
this was a cycle.
Yep.
It's like the sun's got cycles.
Yep.
And they said, all right, this is about the time, and it's been 4 years, so they're going to be really bad this year.
Yep. Yeah, but we're in high red alert,
Yep.
which means no fires, no nothing.
Well, someone didn't get the no fires memo.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Then you got Karen Bass, the mayor of L.A.
Yeah, yeah.
She cut the funding by the fire department by $17 million.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, why? I'm just saying, why would you do that? That is a very essential need for any city.
Well, some of this goes back again to the political climate of California right now, which is why I think it really blew up during the COVID era, where a lot of these businesses just went, we can't keep doing this. We're being taxed out of our business simply because they have so many tariffs on all these little things. There's a reason Georgia, the Carolinas, and a bunch of these other places, Toronto for many years, have become really big filming hubs because they cost less to be there. Oh, you don't have a certain specialist, you got to have them on set. Well, they cost this much. Oh, you've got to have this. And a lot of these companies just went, we're not doing this anymore. They have earmarked so much money for, I will call them specialist niche groups. And they're taking money away from things that are necessary. But they are trying to appease every little group that gives them some money. And this is where you run into some of these problems.
No, this is the perfect example of what happened is this is why you don't micromanage.
Right. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, you that whole state right now is in financial shambles. They downplay it in the news, but anybody who lives there, you understand. You see these stories every day.
Yeah.
That we can't afford this. Can't afford that. Oh, but no, things are going great. No, the whole place is in a shambles. A lot of places have left and taken money and everything with them because they're like, we can't afford to keep
personnel,
doing it. Yeah,
that they like.
We can't fucking keep doing this, man. Yeah. We don't have the money. We cannot afford to keep doing this. And it has been almost a mini mass exodus for like the last 3 years out of California. And New York is another one that's lost a lot of people. Same thing. So you've got taxes on all kinds of minor ticky-tacky things that no one wants to be paying for.
Yeah.
And they just go, no, we're going to go somewhere else, but we're not going to be able to make some money. It'll be fine.
Well, Newsom also made news too because, our president-elect is calling for him to resign just for how bad a debacle it happened.
Oh, yeah, it's not been great.
But like a couple of years ago, he did something really good. Because basically, like 3 years ago, they started this freshwater retaining holding area. Yeah. And for 3 years, it never got done. And it's not that big a structure.
No.
Then also, too, he diverted 800 billion gallons of water from the fire hydrant system to save a fish.
Yeah, the little, the hell is it? Some kind of weird minnow thing.
It's not that weird, dude.
No.
We have them all over in South Dakota, for cripe's sake. Smelt.
Yeah.
You can buy them by the bag here.
Yep.
If you want. I mean, us South Dakotans, we use them for bait and we eat them too.
Yeah, right.
But they have smelt runs out in the river.
Yep.
They're not that uncommon. Then Biden's sending $500 million to California.
Yep.
Oh, wait, nope, sorry. That was to the Ukraine.
Yep.
He did that on Tuesday.
Yep.
He sent $500 million to Ukraine instead of California.
Now, they did say that there's no cost and doesn't matter whatever the cost is. We're going to support and help.
No, I got the exact words he said.
Yep.
Biden had a news press conference. This is his words. The federal government will cover 100% of all costs for 180 days for debris removal, temporary shelters, first responder salary, and all other necessary measures to protect life and property. He said, spare no expense, do what needs to be done, contain those fires and their communities that have been devastated.
Which is good.
That is good. But he forgot about a whole other state that needs it more. Because North Carolina is still covered in rubble. There's sofas and trees.
And with the nasty storms that have gone through there.
Just today, there was a storm. Yeah. Well, when this happened, it was like either Tuesday or Wednesday, there's like 3,500 people that were staying in hotels. Well, their vouchers expired. FEMA went in and kicked them out.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're in their cars during a snow and ice storm.
Yeah.
3,500 people.
Yeah, crazy weather for that area that you don't see that often down there, and they're dealing with it. And yeah, it's like, nah, we can't pay for that anymore. Yeah. Well, we don't have any money. We lost everything. we can't stay here anymore.
Because
no, gotta go.
To my opinion, this is going to cause what's going on is going to cause a lot of devices now. They're trying. Right. We tried to get rid of that after election. We thought it was gone. They're trying to bring it back.
Oh no, it's not going to go away. That's something that I think at this point is a regular. Well, they found it works. Like I said, everything we've done, we've seen like in the last 10 years, and it all goes under the old. If you keep them at their throats, they can't come after us. And it was working for quite a few years, where they had half the country pissed at the other half of the country. Even when it was complete nonsense, they were getting people wound up. And guess what? You don't point the light over at the people in charge because you're so busy being angry at Jimmy next door because he doesn't think the same thing you do. That's an old political tactic from millennia ago. It's like,
it still works. People know about it, but it still works.
And like I said, in the modern era,
I don't know how we can say that. It's like everybody knows about it. You and me know about it, but does everybody know about it?
Well, no, that's the downside. There's a lot of people that haven't figured this out yet. Even leading up to the elections this year, you have a lot of people like me who have been kind of paying attention to elections and the games that get played every election cycle since Clinton's first, so 92. The first few, I was like, oh man, I was told this guy's going to do this, and none of that happened. And I start watching it and going, oh, they both say this. And every year they run the same playbook. Each side runs the same playbook. And it's just, there's a whole lot of people with social media at this point that buy all the bullshit. And they've gotten them so ramped up because there's been no let off for like 10 years.
Yeah.
There's no cool down. Normally we have election cycle, and then it cools down for 3.5 years. There hasn't been. It's been almost a full decade of them just constantly ramping everyone up on both sides.
Yep.
To be like, oh, God, oh, to the point where he's Hitler. Oh, he's going to sell our country away. Oh, he's the communist. And those of us that watch it a lot go, this is just the normal election
rhetoric.
Game. This is the election game.
Yeah.
As soon as it's done, and they literally did. They were like, well, we'll get them next time. And I thought this was the end of democracy. Remember that? Guess what? The other side said that on the last election, too, that the end of our country was if this guy gets elected. Our country didn't end. None of it happens because it's all bullshit. But there's a lot of people that don't pay attention to it.
You know what? No, we're going to start calling this now. We're going to start calling it David Wilcox.
David Wilcox.
We're going to start calling everything a David Wilcox.
That's right.
And if you're in the know, you know what we're talking about.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, it's people been ramped up on a lot of stuff. And like I said, they some of it they are losing, I think, that control, which is why you're going to see some lashing out of trying to get people ramped up again.
Yeah.
Media, I think, has lost a lot of their control that they used to have because people figured out, you guys are full of shit. You guys are lying to us. And now they're playing a whole game of chasing their tail, covering their butts.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of, if you watch any news, you're just like, wait a minute, didn't 3 months ago you say, okay, yeah, I know what this game is. Yeah. Again, I've seen these games. These are just ramped up versions. But yeah, no, like the FEMA thing, there's probably 20 years at this point. There have been a lot of red flags that pop up around FEMA stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't say every conspiracy around FEMA is probably true.
Jade Helm.
But there's been enough really no consistency with how they handle things that really makes you wonder and go, okay, what is going on here, guys? What are you really doing? Are you helping? Are you not? Oh, you're helping these guys.
But it seems
you're not helping these guys.
I'm going to say this in my opinion.
Right.
I notice like when something happens in certain colored states, like red or blue states, they act different. And it's just for California, for example, they were 24 hours they had fucking shit there.
They were right there.
But you go to like North Carolina, it took them like 3 weeks to even get the first tent set up.
Yeah, to get anything rolling.
It
was more.
It's like they're hammering like, hey, if you want FEMA to show up on time, you got to change colors from red to blue or blue to red, whatever.
Right. There does feel like
That's
some
just
of that.
that's my opinion.
Right.
I just have a feeling that's what it feels like to me.
Right, and you do get some of that coercion, I think, in different stuff, and some of that maybe changes over time, but it does make you kind of wonder sometimes, because it seemed like Carolinas, it was more of individuals putting money down there and doing stuff. Well, then
there's a lot of people
they started looking like idiots, and then they're like, well, we better send some trucks down, because here's all these other people that are sending all this stuff down.
Because if something like
isn't that supposed to be our job?
Yeah, because there's actually people kicking horses through the Appalachians to get to these people to help, and I applaud them people that did that.
Yeah.
But the FEMA turned around and stopped them, because a perfect example, I just read something on this. A bunch of these people had brought in like 40 generators.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, yep, they brought them in. They were brought in for like people that had cancer, that couldn't leave, feeble, elderly, and all that. I'm like, fucking
wasn't
great work.
Didn't choose not to get out of the way, had no option but to not get out of it.
And they made sure all these generators had them all storage, they're getting ready to distribute them out.
Yep.
They come in one morning, and all of them are gone.
Yep.
The police department had been told by FEMA to come in and take all this stuff.
Yep.
That was donated.
Right. From
public people, like, hey, here's $1,000 generator ticket. Go. I don't want to see it. It's like, that's what kind of people are. That's how people should be.
Yeah, this is kind of what the country was founded on.
Yeah.
You
help your neighbors.
Right. A lot of people forget the federal government is not there to fix every issue. They're there to deal with the big problem, people trying to attack us, overarching, come in and help out.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be state by state, has its own jurisdictions. They choose their own rules. If you don't like the rule of a state, you move to a different one.
Yeah.
No one can stop you. But anymore, there's this idea that, well, the federal government has to come fix this. No. The problem is you need less government involvement. That's the reality of it. All they do is red tape everything and make it a
so they can make their 10 cents.
They make it a giant CF.
Yeah.
Is all that really happens as soon as you get them involved with stuff. And FEMA is a prime example of that.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as you start we didn't authorize those, so those can't be here because we don't know.
Yep. That's exactly what happened with those generators.
We did not authorize these. We haven't inspected to make sure these are up to the right code that we need. It's a generator. You can go buy them at any Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards.
Kmart, if you still have them.
The people would buy them and put them on their own house.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Well, yeah, but they're not the ones we authorized. And that's really what it boiled down to.
Yeah.
So they got to get out of here. No, they don't.
All right, let's stop talking about FEMA before I get mad.
Before I get really mad.
Get something in the mic. Well, we're talking about, there's other, I'm serious. We've gone, what's the date today? 12 days into 2025 has been the worst for the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah. No, so far 2025 is gearing up to be just an awful year.
Yeah, because right now, this is like Tuesday or Thursday this happened, and the I-40 near Albuquerque, New Mexico is shut down due to ice and snow.
Oh, yeah.
And vehicles, trucks, and cars were backed up for 30 miles. And they show a video of this. Oh, my Lord. I never knew there were so many semis that were on that road. It's like there's like one car to every 60 semis.
Yeah, and not even like 1 to 10. It's ridiculous.
It's all like semis. And I'm like, they're all carrying food.
Yep.
Seeing a lot of reefer trailers on there. I'm like,
oh, yeah. Yep.
What the hell?
Yeah. Any goods you can think of, basically, building stuff on there.
It was all semis, not cars.
Yeah. Food.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, just the weather itself this year has been wild. Like, they're just getting all the amount of snow in just Dallas. Now Texas sometimes does get snow, but not like this year.
They get a half inch in Dallas, the whole state closes down.
Well,
Texas,
they have to.
Yeah, because
anything in the South when they get down there. Like I said, my wife for years lived around Atlanta, and like 91, they had a blizzard of 91, and it was like half inch of snow, and the entire place shut down. They had no school, and they were just like, really? as they have come from here, where that like we got in the last day or so up to an inch. Yeah, it's supposed to be less than an inch blowing around. It doesn't stop any from doing anything. But these places don't put money into sanding. They don't have these snow plows because.
Well, no, wait. Where did I see that? Atlanta does have a
Atlanta
snowplow.
does.
Yeah.
I think they've got like 3.
Yeah. But they had one that has like a forklift pushing a dumpster.
yeah. Well, they do, but yeah, a lot of that they depend on somebody else sending them down to help dig them out right away.
But for half inch, you give it an hour about.
Right. But yeah, no, it's that whole, basically everything from Texas, straight swathed right up into the Northeast has just been hammered on.
Then, like in Texas too, right before this storm hit, they had a major substation explode. They had a fire, and they don't know what happened. An explosion and a fire at a power substation caused outages to everybody.
Yeah, and then you have this pop up on top of it.
Yeah. So now I went down a few deep rabbit holes here about all the other weird things going on. Recently in North Carolina, like 2 days ago, hundreds of explosions, booms were reported over North Carolina.
Oh, like in the air?
In the air.
Really?
And the cops were like, yeah, we don't know what it is, but we were saved by scientists. Said it was caused by a celestial, it's basically like Seneca guns, but it's caused by a celestial event. Meteor broke up in the atmosphere.
Well, nobody saw anything.
But in October in Idaho, a series of explosions were reported in the air too, and the police were telling people, do not talk about this stuff.
Oh.
This one guy had his page pulled twice for talking about it.
Oh, really?
In Idaho.
It's Idaho, and there's some weird stuff happens in Idaho, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
But could that be tied into all of a sudden, like during the LA fire, there's been numerous booming explosions heard?
And I suppose everyone just assumes it's, a building or gas line going up. But,
Yeah, but there's no gas line.
Right.
But the theory is on all this, like all those explosions they heard, like, it's actually where they're demoing all the human trafficking tunnels underneath.
Oh, interesting.
Then along with that, California, the same week as the fires, have been like several low-level earthquakes.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to hit with more because all of a sudden all that weight's lifting up off the ground.
Yeah, right. Yeah, who knows?
Because they're actually pushing that, the big one's going to happen, the big one's going to happen.
Right.
And they're also pushing that whole thing about that underwater volcano we talked about.
Yes.
They are pushing that hard.
Right. So many ways to go out this year already that they're pushing. I mean, let's be real.
It's just
I
got a theory. You never know
viruses and natural disasters.
We make fun of the guys that say, "Oh, I'm from this year." I think the motherfuckers are.
Yeah, maybe.
That's just that what it is. It's actually the government putting out, "Hey, we're going to say we're a time traveler from 2244, and this is what's going to happen this year."
Right.
So what we do is we give them 10 options, and we pick 5. And make it kind of close.
Yeah.
I know it's like that one with the Yosemite.
Yeah.
That guy hit it to the day.
Yeah.
I'm like,
kind of weird.
What? Yeah. Oh, you haven't heard weird yet, buddy.
You haven't even gotten there yet.
So I couldn't confirm this, but it was supposed that the flood insurance in North Carolina was canceled before the floods hit.
Really?
Yeah, but I can't find anywhere. I looked it up for like 3 hours. Could not find anything. So if any of our listeners have anything, send it to us. Email us at eothpodcast@outlook.com if you got any information on that. So I would like to know about that because there's rumors of that going on. I don't have
anybody I know down there. So
January 4th, this is the topper for the year. I-85 in South Carolina shut down. Do you know what it's shut down due for? It's supposedly a bomb threat, and a guy had a semi saying it was a giant bomb.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had not heard that one.
Yeah. January 2nd, fire starts in the French Quarter.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't want to, people don't understand. You do not mess with the Big Easy.
Yeah.
Them voodoo witch doctors will come out and
it's not good.
Whoop your butt.
That's not good.
Oh, yeah, this is interesting. Police find 2 letters, ID, and passport in Cybertruck explosion from Las Vegas.
Right.
After they couldn't identify his body because it was burnt unrecognizable due to the fire.
Yeah.
Where the hell are they getting this paper and passports from? Holy God, I want to find the manufacturer there, invest in that company.
Right. Yeah, that's another one that I think is, like we've talked a little bit about before, that I think in the next probably 4 months we'll have to be revisiting because there's a whole lot of inconsistencies
Yeah.
that are kind of popping up on that bad boy.
And the day the fires start, guess who failed an audit? Pentagon fails 7th straight audit. Lost $824 billion.
Oh, yeah. And I knew they lost that.
And they failed everyone since they were audited since 2018. So,
That just happens. You just misplace it. It's fine.
yeah. And I'm really scared about this one. BlackRock makes a statement in a financial magazine.
Oh, really?
They said they are preparing for the collapse of the U.S. dollar amid fears of a $10 trillion at stake amid global markets concern.
Yeah, because they've been pushing to try to collapse the dollar for years.
So basically, hey, we're going to collapse this. We're just giving you a heads up. So
right. They've been working on that for a while.
Rice and potatoes. Then also, during the same time this fire in California, guess what happened? I know you haven't heard about this one.
Probably not.
Like 2 days ago, at Tustin, California, Army Reserve got broken into.
Oh.
On January 8th, 4 days ago. Guess what was stolen? See, Army Reserve places, they just have a chain link fence around them, and it's just like, it's basically a warehouse.
Yep.
Well, they got away with 3 Humvees.
Oh.
One that is armored.
Oh, jeez.
8 machine gun vehicle mounts.
Oh, my God.
7 freestanding machine gun tripods. And what they failed to mention, them are either for a Mark IV or a 50 cal.
Yep.
They can be used on either one. But a shitload of medical equipment, 40 pairs of binoculars, and 18 bayonets. They have retrieved one of the Humvees, but they never said which one they retrieved.
Oh, I will guarantee that
it's not the armored one.
I can guess which one it's not.
Yeah. Then also in the news, this is great. 2025 is going to be an awesome year.
So far it's been
we just mentioned this one last week, I think. A doctor came out and says people need to stop using medication. Well, how should she put it? Doctors are putting out ads on how their drugs should not be used for weight loss.
Yes.
Can you guess which one that is?
Right.
Because people's eyes are rotting out of their skull.
Yeah. The oddball things are starting to happen.
We're talking about Ozempic.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's a Kardashian empire. If they stop taking that, they're going to be weighing 500 pounds.
There's a whole lot of people that are probably going to be in trouble when that thing goes down.
And also, Las Vegas is going to become the new Hollywood. After investors invest $8.5 billion in building the proposed Nevada studio campus.
Well, it's already a bright and shiny, at least part of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, you might as well.
But I think it's funny because Mark Wahlberg was the first one to actually come in, and he's brought his studio. Mark Wahlberg has his own, and he brought it to Vegas. So I think everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, we'll go to Vegas."
Yeah. Well, you're in Nevada. You're still close enough to that area.
Yep.
And you don't have all the ridiculous tariffs and taxes.
They better not screw up Vegas because they start burning all that crazy stuff.
Right.
And I can't afford to go to Vegas.
I don't think they will because they know the amount of money that place makes as it is.
Yeah.
You're not going to.
Then you got to look at all the help, the talent they could possibly get there.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, no, I don't think they would probably mess with that money printing machine
I hope they don't.
City is. It's unreal. Like I said, we've both been there a few times, and like sitting out at like 1 a.m, just walking up and down the strip. Just the idea of how much money
physical is not just that. That's not metaphysical. We're talking physical cash.
Cash that is just on like 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Of just walking up and down the street.
That's
it's
unreal.
unreal.
Because Marty said that to me right first. I'm like, I didn't even catch it right away.
Yeah.
Because I think, oh yeah, the casinos. Then I thought about it. I'm like, oh shit. Because I thought how much money I had in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I had one good today. And I'm like,
it's unreal.
So I'm looking, and all of a sudden I'm picking out who's the guy with the fanny packs across the track.
Right. And I mean, I don't think they will try to interfere with that moneymaker because there's too much money that already is in and out of that. Yeah. But it's also a nice place to help fund projects because there is a whole lot of money coming in and out of that place.
Yes, sir.
They're already, as far as live entertainment, they are one of the bigger hubs of the U.S. simply because of all their live shows that they do on the strip to get people in. It
makes business
sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If I'm doing movie stuff, it makes sense. You're within a drive of anywhere that would be similar to what you're going to film in California anyways.
Yeah.
You have a whole pool of people coming. Just as many people go to LA to try to make it big, go to Vegas to try to make it big too.
Yep.
You have a whole pool of people that you could be casting out of. That makes a lot of sense to me. That's insane. Mm-hmm. You have a large international airport where you can get all your equipment. Yeah, we're going to go film in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, fly everything right out of here. It's fine. We don't need it. And less taxes and tariffs and everything else that you deal with in California. Now, for money-wise, it makes sense, man. It really does.
Well, now we're going to talk about the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Something we haven't talked about this whole California thing. And it has been brought up numerous times. It's been brought up during the Maui fire. Is HAARP actually the cause?
Right.
Because do we actually, if you look how messed up the weather's been, already 12 days into this year.
Yeah.
It's been extreme. It's not climate change.
Well, I would even go into, say, even last winter, where up here, it was like the Northwest up here, most of winter. It was foggy, 40s, 50s, rainy, where typically in January we have snow. It's negatives, and it wasn't until we got into like the end of January. I think we'd gotten some snow at Christmas, and that was melted away.
Yep.
And yeah, most of the first chunk of end of fall and first chunk of winter up here it reminded me
shorts in December last year.
It reminded me of Washington State. It's 40, 50 degrees, foggy every day. And it's like, this is not what we normally have here.
No.
There's a vast difference in it. And then you come to this year again, hasn't been that horrible up here, and yet you're watching these swaths of snow and
south of us,
ice going through south. Well, yeah, like watching video out of now Kansas and that area always gets ice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, watching those videos, it's scary. I would rather deal with the snow than the ice storms they get down there because it's nasty. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you have a bunch of these states that are just getting hammered on, which it's not impossible for them to get it, but it's rare for them to get the levels of weather they've been getting.
It's uncommon.
Very uncommon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just whole swaths of...
Because I'm looking at like broad picture. Besides weather, that's the most common. It'll be like more earthquakes, more volcanoes, explosions. I'm like, it's just, does HAARP actually, the ones behind the curtain actually have controlling over this?
Right. Yeah, they fully figured out what everyone has paranoidly think for decades that they've been doing.
Now,
they figured it out.
If somebody listened to this tonight when we put it out, and then all of a sudden we get 5 feet of snow here, I'm like, that's it.
Okay, yep, there it is. Set it back to normal for them. Okay, here we go.
Then DEWs have always been mentioned too. Direct energy weapons. There is one video I've seen. I don't know the validity of it.
Right.
But it's just a video I've seen. It shows like the sky showing the fires pop up. And you see like he shows this red line come across his infrared screen.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. I don't know if that's not or not.
Right. But it is interesting.
Yes, it is interesting.
It's like, oh, okay, well, if this is real, it's those situations. That's where I have to go with most video stuff anymore. If this is real, what the hell is that? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's something very odd.
With everything, we got to look at this objectively because I can't.
Yeah, right.
I don't know this guy's person's video that made the background. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But it is interesting.
I don't know the history of where this came from, who this guy is, how this got put out,
Yeah.
But like I said, if it is valid, okay, what the hell was that? That really makes you go, okay, well, what would be doing that?
And this is the next one I'm going to talk about. I didn't really hear about this all except for like in a few YouTube videos. Smart meters. Houses that have smart meters on them are still standing. They have one, at least maybe two, where the houses had smart meters on them. All the other houses around them are gone, but their house is still standing.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know.
That's probably something I have to watch more for too. That'd be something I'd like if you listen to this. And
what makes me kind of wonder going back to, because it's hard not to equate this back to the Maui fires a year ago.
Yep.
Where it's very similar. Oh,
it's almost a very similar playbook.
Yeah. It's a
because let's see. Highline wire sparked. Lots of wind. We warned you about the day before. Everything ravaged.
But yeah, then again, we're seeing these. It'd be interesting to go back and see how many of the places that were standing in the middle of blocks over there were they hooked into smart meters as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And at this point in time, I don't know if anybody thought, 'cause I think even the ones that were standing have been leveled at this point.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to redo the whole area. Of course you are.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
And the last thing I want to mention is I can't remember this guy's name, but he's a big executive in LA. He has come under fire. His mansion is still standing because he hired a private security force, and he is the only one in his neighborhood that had water to his hydrant.
Oh.
But the fire hydrants couldn't be used by anybody else.
Weird.
I want to know what's in that guy's basement.
Right. Yeah, no, it's
how many ace cards he's got on somebody. How many aces does he have on somebody?
Well, it's one of those like, well, did this guy have foreplanning where he was like, yeah, I tapped into my own private well and aquifer, so I've got water reserves. Which at that point I go, all right, man, you got the money to do it, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty unlikely that is probably the case. But yeah, no, it's weird that no one else could get water diverted to their area, but by God, he's got plenty to keep everything moist and keep fires.
Yeah.
Super destructive fire. Not just like a little yard fire. Like, this is super destructive fire away from all of your property. I'm picturing dudes out there with like little buckets. This is not the case.
Oh, and also, folks, too, there's a video going around of firemen taking what looks like canvas handbags. That is very common. They use them for small dumper fires.
Yep.
That was a video that was cut from like a year ago.
Yep.
Showing you, hey, this is equipment you use for a small. Instead of breaking out the hose, they just filled these couple of canvas bags, put the dumpster fire out.
Yep.
That's what that's from. They weren't. They have that. It's equipment they have.
Oh yeah.
But they weren't using that to fight the fire.
It's not designed for this level of fire.
No.
This is for smaller area. Although I will say, like my wife the other day, she's like, it's horrible what's going on there, but there's been a lot of cool footage of like the helicopters.
Oh yeah.
That are running out. She's like, I didn't know they could do all that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool as shit. And like the big seaplanes. She's like, I've never really seen that before. I'm like, yeah, no, it's cool as shit. It's crazy.
Well, have you seen the crazy?
But those helicopters, man, those pilots are crazy because flying through that, you don't really think about it, but that heat creates updrafts, and helicopters are very touchy as far as there's a reason that the levels to get a license for flying a helicopter is so high and strict, because they are very fragile little things. They are very touchy, twitchy machines. No matter how good they are twitchy machines. Basically,
if a butterfly flaps, its wings 2 miles away, you're going to feel it in
Right. You've got to comp for it. But yeah, no, those guys are ballsy and crazy for going in like they do. Because
we applaud them guys because they do an awesome job.
But yeah, she's never really seen any of those. And you and I have seen videos of that. She's like, that's crazy. That is just amazing. I didn't know that could do that. It's like, oh yeah, it's
and them guys that do that don't get paid that much.
No,
they just love flying.
They don't get paid a whole lot at all, man. For what?
Well, did you see that one video with that DC-10?
No.
Basically, it's going through there and they're videotaping it, and that Santa Ana wind. It drops its load because all of a sudden it's really light, and the thing just goes whoosh.
Well, I mean, realistically, if you're a land person like us, it's the difference between running a full semi trailer down the road in the wind and then emptying everything out and having just an empty trailer behind you.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you're definitely feeling that when the wind hits. Those planes are the same way, man. You dump tons off of it. And that wind all of a sudden is like, boom, okay, yeah, we got to comp this way because we're in trouble if we don't. Yeah, that's wild. But them
pilots are awesome.
Oh, they're crazy.
Appreciate everything they're doing for that state.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's ballsy.
Yeah.
To be going and doing that stuff they do. So it's like any wrong move and boop, you're going down into that inferno. And no one can come get you. That's it.
Yeah.
It's potentially a one-way trip to try to knock that fire out. Yeah. It's crazy.
But I'm pretty sure most of the pilots are, I'll say it. I may be wrong. They're adrenaline junkies. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong. That's the best drug there is adrenaline.
That's just how it is. Like, no, this is what I do. Yeah. They're like any of those people, you're like, man, why do you go do that crazy? Well, that's my thing. That's what I do. It's like, okay, well, this is why I sit on my ass, because this is my thing. Yeah. I'm going to watch you go do your thing and just talk about the crazy thing you do while I sit.
Yeah.
Because that's my thing.
Well,
But yeah, no, it's wild, man.
yeah, that's all I got on the LA fires here. So
Right. It's
it's an evolving story. It's gonna be
right.
good. Well, I'll be honest, folks. I don't think we'll ever find out. They're gonna come out with like
Oh yeah.
that the winds and just coincidences happen.
Yep.
But there's a lot of things that aren't coincidence if you really start digging.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, but I don't think it's like a lot of things. I don't think we're ever going to get a full real answer on it. We'll get an answer, but no different than like when we a couple weeks ago talked about drones.
Yeah.
We'll get an answer at some point. It isn't going to be true, probably.
Yeah.
90% of it's going to be complete nonsense. But it'll be enough where they go, there you go, shut up, and go away.
So me and Marty did not have this on our 2025 bingo card.
No.
LA burning to the ground.
We have a few things that are possibly coming to fruition that were on our bingo card.
Yeah.
The virus thing is kicking up pretty hard,
Yeah.
but the fires, push that back, so nobody cares about that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it'll be interesting. It is very interesting.
Good.
Hi, Kicker.
All right. Do you have anything else for these folks?
I do not.
All right. Well, if you made it this far, you can come watch the video and listen to the same thing on YouTube because hopefully that's going to be on our YouTube video today too. So.
Don't expect a whole lot of video from it, but
Yeah.
there will be audio.
We'll be in a yoga position the whole time.
Yeah, right.
So. All right, folks. Have a good night. Bye.
Did you steal a mouse? Did you steal a mouse? Yeah. She likes to suckle on catnip mouses. I don't know if she just like tea.
And yes, I know it's still recorded for the YouTube video. I don't
Yep.
care. Yeah, Pancakes stealing the mouse from the cats, pissing off the cats.
Yeah, you do.
All right,
Just
folks.
chew on them.
Thanks for watching the YouTube video. We'll talk to you later. Bye.